People don't want to see them here. And this isn't where they belong either. And here? That looks better. We're talking about the Porsche Cayenne GTS and the BMW X6. Don't be fooled by the SUV exterior. They're really intended for the road, or so the manufacturers claim. Porsche hopes to set the benchmark for sporty SUVs with the GTS, and with the X6, BMW promises a new level of driving dynamics for this class. So what are they, SUVs or sports cars? We sent test driver Patrick Simon on a round trip to Mendig with this question. First up is the GTS. What we have here is a car that's as agile as a weasel. I don't know how they managed to make 2.5 tons move so dynamically, but Porsche does it again and again. The GTS is the sportiest version of the Cayenne, 24 millimeters lower, with a rear spoiler and a shorter transmission ratio. What you notice basically is that when you enter the turn, you ease up on the gas and bring the car around nice and precisely, and the back goes flying. You've got to do a fair bit of countersteering, which is possible, but not in a power oversteer. Then you can't bring the car back in line, at least not on this dry surface. There's a reason for that. The 21-inch wheels with sports tires stick to the track like glue. Under the bonnet is an 8-cylinder injection engine with 4.8 liters displacement. The 405 horsepower engine in the Cayenne GTS definitely needs revs. So if you're gliding along at 2,000 revs per minute, nothing much happens. But around 4,000 revs onward, that's when you get the performance kicking in and you really move. It's not brutal, but there is considerable force. Everyone expects there to be an appropriate chassis too. There's a normal mode and a sports mode. You do notice a difference. You can feel that the configuration is a bit firmer. You've got precise steering into the turn with the front wheels. Bam, it comes around clearly, accelerates nicely out again. There's a bit of a downside in the sports mode. If there are any bumps in the track, you might turn really nicely. Then the car hits the bump and takes off. But that's okay. It's only in sports mode. It doesn't happen in normal mode. Air suspension costs 1,900 euros extra. When you take a corner that almost throws you out of your seat, I think you get more side support in a Ford Transit. But thankfully there are handles, so you can do what I did. Whenever the drive becomes a bit rougher, you hold on here and brace yourself, so you have some degree of side support, but that's not really the point.
Schon hat man einen einigermaßen Seitenhalt, aber das ist eigentlich nicht Sinn und Zweck.
Driving dynamics on a racetrack in a Cayenne GTS, the car turns cleanly, but of course it doesn't reach the level of a sports car. In terms of precision, yes, but due to the weight and the inertia, you can't move a car like this in the same way as you might move a sports car. Turbo style, the GTS looks like the strongest Cayenne model with wide air intakes to refresh the engine. And it goes at a good pace, 6.5 seconds from 0 to 100, a top speed of 251 kilometers per hour. The price is a whopping 78,000 euros. The starting price for the BMW X6 is 74,000 euros, but that's still cheaper than its competitor. The BMW produces 407 horsepower. The top speed is regulated at 250 kilometers per hour. The X6 can go from 0 to 100 in just 5.4 seconds. That's got quite a bit more force. The BMW has only 2 horsepower more, but just under 100 Newton meters more of torque. And here comes the first corner. It's got so much force on the straight, and then going into the first corner, and there's perfect understeer. In terms of output, the horsepower is the same as the Cayenne, but the difference is that here there are two little turbines which take in the air and compress it before it goes into the intake stroke. That's well done. Everything is very harmoniously designed and flows nicely until it automatically changes up. And on the subject of gear changes, I just take this cool joystick, push it to the left and change gear like in a racing car's sequential gearbox. It's a good system. And if I can't be bothered, then I can put it in D and let the car do it all itself.
Wie so ein kleines sequentielle Getriebe im Rennauto so meine Gangwechsel. Da bin ich eigentlich ganz gut mit bedient und das ist okay. Und wenn mir alles so doof ist, fahre ich auf D, dann können mich alle mal gern haben.
The four-wheel drive and the active differential on the rear axle of the X6 are fully variable.
Dynamic Performance Control, das ist schon...
Dynamic performance control, now those are words I can hardly say. During the drive, it's supposed to accelerate the outside wheels on a corner, which just makes for a more fun drive. Well, I can't feel it. The understeer is pretty strong. I had hoped that this system would make the driving dynamics a bit sharper, a bit more precise.
Noch ein bisschen geschärfter, noch ein bisschen präziser ist.
Only in the wet do you feel the dynamic performance control more clearly. I've never had such a comfortable seat in any car, whether an SUV or otherwise, so I have to say the ultimate driving machine is more like the ultimate sitting machine for me.
Schönes Feedback in der Bremse.
Good feedback in the brakes. This is better, a bit better than the Cayenne. In the Cayenne, the pedal is very long and soft. At least here, there's good feedback for the driver when you initially brake.
Schönere Rückmeldung für den Piloten da.
With the X6, BMW has created a new category of car, the Sports Activity Coupe. The X6 is in the same league as the Porsche in terms of size. 4 meters 80 long, 1 meter 70 high, definitely no dwarf. Inside, it's like the standard Cayenne, dominated by cool practicality and restrained luxury. The 6-gear automatic transmission costs €2,600 extra. That's inclusive with the BMW, and here there's also plenty of luxury for the driver and 3 other passengers. We deliberately drove on a closed stretch to find out which of the two cars was more dynamic to drive. And I have to say quite clearly that the Porsche Cayenne GTS is the winner here. The BMW excels with its engine, which has a lot of power, turbocharged, and with its wonderfully comfortable seating and sense of space. But the Cayenne wins on driving dynamics. These cars don't make real sense at all. Petrol consumption in excess of 15 liters isn't the most sensible, but despite that, they're insanely fun to drive. The Porsche is the ultimate cornering machine, whereas for me, the BMW is the ultimate accelerating machine. In terms of sportiness, both of these dreadnoughts are impressive. However, the jury is still out regarding their purpose, mostly because they're more likely to be driven in city traffic rather than on a racetrack.